Okay.
This is Chet Holmgren, and I'm down to dunk.
This is AJ Mitchell, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Alex Crusoe, and I'm down to dunk.
It's like baby bottle pop. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is Adam Flagler, and I'm down to dunk.
Hey, it's Isaiah Hartenstein, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Cason Wallace, and I'm down to dunk.
I can't spell Lucas. Hey, how do you spell Lucas? How do you spell Lucas?
This is Lou Dort, and I'm down to Dort.
This is Nikola Topic, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Dylan Jones, and I'm down to dunk. This is Isaiah Joe, and I'm down to dunk.
And there's probably like 50 to 75 Beanie Babies. Give me like your top 3 Pokemon.
Brother, I can't even name.
This is Jay Will, and I'm down to dunk.
Sometimes the way his brain works is it leaves a lot to be desired.
This is Kenrich Williams, and I'm down to dunk.
Charmander. Charmander. Or you're more of a Charmeleon guy.
Charmeleon.
This is Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, and I'm down to dunk.
Schlecht. You know what it means?
Schlecht?
Yeah.
That means like bad.
It means bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me.
Well, it was a good interview, so it wasn't bad.
J-Dub, year 3, and I'm down to dunk for the 3rd time. Thank you.
Welcome to Down to Dunk. I'm your host, Andrew Schlecht. We're part of the Athletic Podcast Network. With me, as always, on Mondays, is my good friend, Michele Berra. Michele, what's up?
Well, do you remember last week when I said, well, if they go 2-2, it would be a completely satisfactory road trip. And if they go 3-1, boy, oh boy. If they sweep it, it's going to be like a completely different feeling about this team.
Yeah.
All wrong.
Yeah.
All wrong. I mean,
know.
losing against the Rockets is the worst, absolute worst in the entire, I don't know. I mean, in the entire things about losing a single game that doesn't really matter a lot at the end of the road trip, where being a team shot 33 free throws in 35 minutes and then something at the end. I don't know. It's how can you watch the game and feel okay about the 4 games they just played, which, by the way, it's an astonishing, amazing result, but still, it's Dillon Brooks and the Rockets.
I know. It was weird because one, like their offense was just really bad, and Shea, who had been incredible this week, like specifically against really all 3 teams, against Sacramento, Golden State, Lakers. Not that he had a bad night, but in the 4th quarter, which is where he was really amazing in those games. He goes 1 of 5, scores 2 points. He's a -3. Like that was where they really hurt. In the 4th quarter, is like they could not get Shea going in the 4th quarter, and that was kind of the game. Dub was okay. He was 3 of 8. In the 4th, the offense just kind of died in the 4th quarter. Also, the game flow did too. If I'm rewatching some of that game, I think both fans are probably sitting at home mad about the officiating last night.
Yeah,
and a lot of it was. And here's my thing with the officials. Their job is to make sure that the game just flows and goes well, and that no one's committing any big violations. They botched that game. The Thunder and the Rockets showed up, and they both played awesome. They were competitive. It was a intense game. It was great. It was amazing. But the officials absolutely botched it. There were so many things that the amount of stoppage that happened in that game, it killed the game flow. There was none. And I think that was part of why there was no rhythm in the 4th quarter, especially for the Thunder. Was that the officials just did such a bad job of managing the game. It was so bad. It was so bad. Also, they got a ton of foul calls. The Thunder didn't get nearly as many. This has just been kind of a thing that's happened throughout the season. I think the Thunder themselves and Mark specifically is going to continue to beat that drum, and it makes sense to me because the Thunder do drive a lot. They do get hit a lot. Shea got hit in the face on an and one. They didn't call anything on that. They called the Lou Dort one, probably because it was just a little bit easier to see that it happened, honestly. Perhaps that you just didn't see the hit in the face from Shea, but you should go review that. They didn't review that. The officiating was just bad last night, and it sucks because I thought it was such a good and intense game that just the officials, all they needed to do was just manage the game. And they were awful. That was, and I don't like to talk about the officiating. I hate it. I hate talking about officiating. I think it's not good podcasting. But I do think like that shaped the game last night because it was just a really highly competitive game.
Yeah, and again, I mean, it's not that the style of defense of the two teams is dramatically different. I think they were handsy. Both teams were excellent. I'm fine with OKC getting a lot of foul calls against because they play with so much energy and their hands are always in the cookie jar. I mean, Case and Wallace, Lou Dort always have their hands in the cookie jar. Like, period. That is a fact. I'm fine with that. But on the other end, I mean, the defense was really the same. And I think that in the end, if you allow discrepancies in the way in which you are officiating, you're not making it right. So again, I think that we should look back a little bit and think that this team shooting the ball not in a good way and playing in this environment on a fourth night of a road trip against probably the second/third team in the NBA in terms of the fact that they are playing well right now, necessarily one of the top three teams in the league in general. They played a hell of a game.
Yeah.
They played a hell of a game in Houston. Again, it's a couple of moments here and there, and this game is probably tied. I mean, there were a few mistakes that I think the coaching staff made in terms of managing the last few minutes of the game. I think that they fouled really late. I mean, there are a lot of things that you can point to, but the point is, even on a night where it's not going well, even on a night where you play an opponent that is going full throttle over the past few weeks, they lose, yes, but they lose by a possession, which it's basically random.
Yeah, it's that random just moonshot from Fred VanVleet that went in. Like, that's the difference in the game. Like, he doesn't make that, which, what is that, like a 10% shot, 5% shot? Like, that shot doesn't go in. Like, we've seen guys take that shot. Usually it's a heave, it's a long rebound, and it could have been offensive rebound, and they could have made a three off of that. But, like, that shot specifically just doesn't go in. Yeah, I mean, VanVleet was really good last night. He was getting pretty much all the calls in this one. He was 13 of 14 from the free throw line. He finished with 38 points in this one. He was really good. I thought Şengün was good, 20, 14, and 9. Jabari Smith was hitting shots. Dylan Brooks was hitting shots. Like, they had it going, you know?
Yeah.
They played really well. They played really hard.
They played 8 guys. 8 guys.
Yeah.
Like, Steven doesn't count in 3 minutes. It's not really anything. No. But they played they really played playoff.
They really played 7 guys because Reed Shepherd came in and he played a little bit. And Reed has not been super good. But they played basically 7 guys that in that game. They played it like it was a playoff game. Jabari Smith 40 minutes, Alperen was 38 minutes, VanVleet 35, Jalen Green 34. And, you know, the Thunder did the same. 36 minutes for Shea, 37 minutes for J-Dub, 30 for Hartenstein, but he was in foul trouble. Dort fouled out in 27 minutes. He would have had over 30. Kaysen played 36. You know, both teams really wanted to win this one. It was fun. Like, it was a very fun game, you know, on the 1st of December that you don't typically expect. And I think if the Thunder were better rested, I think, honestly, and I said this on Friday, like, this is a schedule loss. Like, you look at the schedule, 4th game of a road trip, you're exhausted, you're traveling, you're in hotels, you're on planes. It is tiring. Like, you know, like, we all know what it's like to just travel. I travel from one city and back to Oklahoma City, and I'm exhausted, you know. Think about, like, being from Sacramento to down to San Francisco to LA to Houston. Like, that, it is exhausting. And the thing about it is, like, we think about them just playing basketball, but these guys have obligations in, like, different cities that they go to, and they have different things they have to do. You know, J-Dub was doing, like, this signing thing in Houston, and like they have like a lot of things going on that are just exhausting. And so like that to me is a schedule loss. Like that's just a part of it. But the fact that they hung in that game, and there were points of it that I thought, man, like they're going to win this game. Like, they're going to take this game. And just the fact that the offense died. And I think you go rewatch Shea's buckets there at the end in the fourth quarter. A lot of them were short. A lot of them just looked like he didn't have a whole lot left in the tank. I mean, it's just really tough. And so it's good they come back to Oklahoma City. They get a day of rest before they play Utah. Also, secretly, I don't hate that they lost that game because of this fact alone. For the Cup on Tuesday.
I know you were about to say that.
Listen, teams always play better. That's like one of the things at the NBA is that like really good teams always play better after a loss. Like look at the Thunder, after they have lost games, they'll come back and they usually play really well. Mm-hmm. And the Thunder just need to demolish the Jazz on Tuesday. And I think if they go 4-0 on that road trip, they come
like after losing to the Mavs, they played great against the Spurs on a cup game. Or was it the opposite? I don't remember.
Fair. They played awful. But listen, I just think they come back fat and happy after a 4-0 road trip. Could be a trap game. Could be a trap game against Utah. Hey, Thunder, refocus. Because I want you in the Cup. I want you to get to the Cup. Okay? And so what there's
do it for Andy.
Please,
like,
just
steamroll the Jazz. Steamroll them. For Andy.
Just
he deserves it.
Because right now, what needs to happen for them to make the Cup and make it to the knockout rounds, which the first one is not in Vegas. Like there's still some work to do to get to Vegas, even if they do win and the San Antonio Spurs lose. But they need to they need to beat the Jazz by an obscene amount.
Mm-hmm.
In order, because I believe there's one wild card, and I believe the Mavericks are currently the team that's looking like they're going to be the wild card unless something crazy happens. So we really want the Thunder. We need the Thunder to just demolish the Jazz, and then we need the Suns to beat the Spurs, because the Spurs, the first tiebreaker is head to head. And so because the Thunder lost to the Spurs and the Spurs are 2-1, the same as the Thunder and the Suns, that they need that to happen in order to advance. So we need Kevin Durant. Kevin, listen, Kevin, you did us dirty years ago. It was terrible. You can do us a favor right now and help us get to the knockout round of the Cup by just defeating Wemby, please. The Spurs looked pretty good last night. They were playing a just helpless Kings team that is just sputtering and just cannot find their identity. And they're trying new starting lineups and they're trying all these things and they can't defend. And it's just they're a blow it up candidate. If I'm guessing who the next star to be traded in the NBA is, I would guess that it's De'Aaron Fox, because he did not sign the extension with the Kings, and he said he wanted to see where the Kings were at. Well, it's not super good. But anyways, the Cup.
Where do you think he can land?
Where do I think that Fox can land?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my first thought is Miami.
Okay.
I also think about the team that we saw the Thunder play last night, Houston. So those are
I would target a different player if I were Houston.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would really try to bring in a
real superstar,
a real guard, because if you think about them without Jabari Smith and Jalen Green and having like a real wing, like a real wing,
yeah,
that is terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that I was very critical of Alpi and his defense in the first matchup against the Wolves. He played much better. I still think that the best look that you can get to Şengün is not a look with a big man, because he can hide immediately, and he's not terrible positional defender. It's not a chance that the best minutes that OKC played against the Rockets were with Dub at the center, and I was kind of surprised that they didn't try that at least for a 2-3 minute stretch. Not because Hartenstein is bad or anything, but because that unit can really stretch Şengün out of the 3-point line, which didn't happen with Hartenstein, not even once.
Yeah,
with Hartenstein there, and this is probably they're playing drop every single time in a very, very conservative way.
Yeah,
and so I don't know. That is a thought that I had during the game. Fox, I have no idea where he fits. Well, he fits in many places. With Miami, I don't think that he has the shooting to really work with Bam and Jimmy, but you know.
He shot it well last year. I just wonder if you just get him to a better team.
Yeah. But he's a guy that needs spacing. Like to have Bam and Jimmy, I don't know how much. Well, Spolster will create space for him. I don't know.
They'll figure it out. Like they just
Yeah.
need talent. They just need more talent in Miami for sure. And Fox is really good.
No Orlando?
Orlando's very interesting. Yeah.
They can do whatever they want. They have a lot of assets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they are extremely interesting as a candidate for them. I just wonder if you want to necessarily take the ball out of Franz's hands after he's proven how good he is, because there's possessions for Franz and Paolo. I just wonder if that, because Fox demands a lot of possessions. I just don't know if that's the way that I would go for them.
Yeah. It makes sense. I always think about Franz as more of a connecting piece. I know that now he's doing everything basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's been amazing. You just have to figure out how he and Paolo mix. And Jalen Suggs is actually a great point guard for them.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'd mess with that yet. Also,
Okay.
they're in the East too. It's like you just don't even have to be that good in Eastern Conference these days. So I don't know. I would just try to hang on and see. Let's see. What else from the Rockets game stuck out? I mean, honestly, the play of Isaiah Hartenstein is like day by day changing, like in my brain, like what this team is capable of, and like where they're heading. And I know that we're coming off a loss, and so it's not super fun to talk about. But Hartenstein was awesome again. He was 9 of 12 from the field, 19 points, 13 boards, 4 assists, a steal, and a block. He's making just really, really incredible reads on both his passing and his screening all the time. You can tell like he is like the ultimate connector for the Thunder. And
and he starts to connect with J-Dub on alley-oops, which is something.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What has happened?
Yeah.
Lob OKC. What is going on there? So many lob slams. I was just shocked. It was like one of the first plays of the game. I think it happened 2 other times, and you're just like, we just hardly ever saw them connect on lobs, period. Like they were so bad at throwing them. And all of a sudden, like Dub and Hartenstein have like figured out like this connectivity. And we always kind of thought that, when we talked about it in the summer, we talked about it before Hartenstein was back, like, hey, I'm so excited to see the chemistry between these two, because you can just see the synergy between the two of their games. And we're starting to see it in a really big way.
Yeah, it's starting to come around. I'm not entirely sold about the second unit yet. The thing that a guy like Caruso is missing, it's not trivial for OKC. I think that it's missing a lot of creating havoc consistently, and also the fact that he is an extra playmaker that you can get there. And it's not a chance that the offense has kind of plummeted over the past 3 games. I think that AJ Mitchell is suffering a little bit. Is not playing as well as he did at home, which is completely normal, expected, and this should not seen as a criticism of AJ Mitchell. It's just, hey, teams are like,
welcome to the scouting report, AJ Mitchell. Now it's time for you to figure it out. This happens with every rookie. Is like they'll look great out of the gate, and then it's like, okay, now it's time to figure out who you are. because teams now know who you are. Like that's just the way that it is.
And the way in which you react in these moments makes or break your career. And again, it's very early, and I'm not worried. But the fact that he was not able to drive or to create anything basically the past 2 games. Granted, they played teams with either very good defense or very good shot blocking, so that is probably part of the deal. But it was noticeable to me that the unit was not really working well. They are not yet there in terms of handled possessions when Shea's on the court, is on the bench.
No, I mean, and you can see that in like the numbers bear that out on cleaning the glass. It's like they are very Shea dependent at this point right now. Like you look at the on-off efficiency there. I mean, they're 12.9 points per 100 possessions better whenever he's on the court. You know, and they were 6.5 with Chet, and then it's basically like down to Isaiah Joe, who's +3. Hartenstein's been a +2.7, and then everybody else is negative, which means like a lot of those guys, there's a lot of minutes with Dort and Caruso and Wiggins and Kaysen and Kenrich and J-Dub with Shea off the court. And it's not going well. And they're going to have to figure it out. I don't think like this is necessarily a matter of like going and getting somebody else or whatever it is, but the offense just kind of stagnates a little bit when Shea's off the court. J-Dub is still kind of finding his way, it seems like, as like a primary initiator of offense. And to me, I think that's totally cool. We know that Jalen Williams is like a superstar level player in the making.
Yeah.
And in order for him to actually get there, you have to let him go through these growing pains. Right now, they're minus 13.1 differential.
Yeah.
You know, and that just means, dude, we got to figure out a way for this. This team is deep enough, and right now they're not deep enough. When they're fully healthy, they're deep enough. Right now, they're not, and so they need to figure out ways to, generate good offense with him as the primary initiator, and it hasn't worked great so far. And I think some of that, when this team is fully healthy, when Chet Holmgren's back, I mean, a lot of, people want to talk about, adding to this team. Like, gosh, they're going to add Chet Holmgren to this team. Like there are times where they look amazing, and they just went 3-1 on a really tough West Coast road trip. And I think that adding Chet to this team, who I think is probably the second best player on this team, and like the top 4, then with the role players that they have with Dort and Caruso and Kaysen and all these guys, was pretty amazing. So I think Michele is working through some technical difficulties right now.
I'm back.
Oh,
I have no idea what happened.
Huh.
Basically, I was without sound for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So I watched you talk a lot, but I couldn't hear a thing, but I'm sure that it was right. Perfect. I agree. Was there a question for me?
No, I was just talking about their depth and how, like, right now it's kind of tough. I mean, you're playing Dylan Jones 11 minutes. He had a 3 last night. Great. But like, he's just not really
he didn't play bad.
He didn't play bad. But it's, you'd rather have Chet Holmgren out there. Isaiah Joe took 1 shot last night in 13 minutes. Like that's
an issue.
That's inexcusable. I don't care if he took 5 and he missed all 5 of them. It's like, but get him 5. That should be the goal of the offense whenever you bring him in. I mean, he was a 6th man of the year candidate last year, just because he was productive. Like, get the guy more than 1 shot. Wiggins had his night last night. He was good in his 27 minutes, but I think they just need to find, one, they need to get healthy is like part of this. Like, they need Caruso back in there. They need eventually get Chet back in the lineup. It's still going to be a while, but you want to see Chet back in there. But I don't think the answers for this Thunder team lie outside of the roster. That's at least how I feel today, is that I think the answers lie within the roster, but they've got to go figure it out. I do think they've gotten better. Certainly adding Hartenstein to the mix has made them a lot better. And I think that they're learning things about their games. We've seen them unlock the lobs that we talked about earlier. I think the defense has been good. I just think that they need to continue to kind of learn what this roster is capable of and continue to kind of mesh a little bit as they go. But I think so far so good, with what this team is doing. I mean, if you told me that after Chet got hurt, if we get to this, we get 20 games in and they're 15-5, I think you would have been like, whoa, that's great. And they've had a little bit of luck along the way when it comes to injuries and stuff like that. Like, Steph Curry, all of that, but also like the Thunder, they've had a lot of injuries. Houston got lucky last night that there was no Chet Holmgren and no Alex Caruso in the game. Like two like high impact players. So like the injury luck thing goes both ways. But 15-5. I think if you said 15-5 through 20 games, like doing pretty good.
Well, I'm signing up for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think that OKC was not really able to turn the Rockets over and creating as many possessions as in transition as they used to have.
Yeah, 10 turnovers. I mean, that's what made this such a great game. Like it was like a chess match because like the Thunder couldn't get the Rockets to turn it over. The Thunder didn't turn it over either. They had 7 total turnovers. They had 10 for the Rockets. A lot of times the Thunder will get teams to turn it over. 17 times was the total number in the game. I mean, that's a pretty, common number for a Thunder opponent to get to. But, credit to Van Vliet, honestly. Like he's not like a big assist guy, but he was like, he and Alpi really took care of the basketball. Because like you look at this guy, listen, he's a good player. He's a really nice player, but I'm just glad he's not on my team because I would just watch the guy the way he moves. Like I just couldn't watch that guy every single night. Like the movement is just I don't know. I can't do it. He's Alpi. I can't do it. I just can't. I can't watch that guy run up and down a basketball court, but more than just a few times, a game. So,
are you concerned about the fact that OKC seems a little bit too on and off with 3-ball?
Am I concerned about it? I don't know. I think that they're generating good looks. And some of them just aren't going down. I don't know. Like how can you be concerned? I don't know. Like what's your level of concern with it? I mean, who are the guys that aren't shooting it well enough? Like I think that a lot of it is who's taking the shots. But I really don't have much of a concern about that. I mean, let me draw up these 3-point percentages. Like J Dub is at 39%. Dort's at 41, Wiggins at 41, Chet was at 37, Isaiah Joe at 36. Like we know that's going to get better. Shea's at 34. That's probably about right with the kinds of threes that he takes.
Yeah. No, I think that will improve, to be honest with you.
I mean, that'd be great. That'd be great.
Yeah. Kaysen shooting is improving a little bit, but not probably where it should be. What is Kaysen in terms of percentage?
On the season, he's 28%.
Yeah.
On the season, Alex Caruso, who's not playing right now, he's 20%. Like I just think that, Kenrich is 27%. I think these numbers are going to get better. And that's the thing is like, I just think that this team hasn't quite hit their stride yet.
Yeah.
In regards to shooting. So am I concerned? I don't feel concerned. I thought Kaysen finally had like that breakout game where it was like, okay, there he is. Like he hit 2 really big threes toward the end of the game. And defensively on the boards, I mean, there's a lot to be. And again, Presley made this point a few months ago, but just about how if Kaysen Wallace was like the only young player on this team, or if Kaysen Wallace was on another team that was like a veteran team, if he was on the Warriors, and people would be like freaking out about him, but because he's on this team, it's just another one of these good young players. But like like the hands are ridiculous. His ability to go grab rebounds at his height is it's honestly a little strange how good he is at it at times. he's a really good player who is clearly better in a lot of ways than last year. It's just the shooting hasn't quite come around yet. I was going to look at like the last 5 games for him. And
It's going to be a bit better.
I mean, it's got to be. He started so bad. But the shot's coming around. It's looking better. Dort's shot came around against LA. He played great against the Lakers.
Yeah.
And then Point Dort last night. What do you think of Point Dort as I look up these 3-point stats over the last 5 games?
Not my cup of tea still. I think that there are a few instances where you can have Dort creating for others, and he did on penetration and stuff like that. I like that. Again, it's not a Dort thing, but I really feel that they need an extra hand in terms of creation, and Dort is not the guy who can allow that. I wonder why Cason Wallace is not used more as a point guard. He did it for a year at KU. Why? At University of Kentucky. UK, sorry. I thought about it and I used the wrong one.
Cason's actually worse over the last 5 games. He's 26
Really?
over the last 5 games.
Yeah.
Yeah. You look over the last 5 games, Dub is 43% from 3. God, they have shot putrid over the last 5 games outside of Dub. Dub is 43.8% on 6.4 attempts per game. Beautiful.
Which is perfect.
Amazing. AJ Mitchell's 36%. Kenrich is 36%. Isaiah Joe's 34.8%. Shea is 34%. Dort's 31%. Wiggins 31%. Cason 26%. Dylan Jones 14%. It is putrid, and they're 4-1 in those games. Yeah. It is a testament to the roster and to the coaching, which we can talk about some of the coaching blunders from last night if we want, but it is a testament to both of those things that they continue to win games despite not shooting well.
Yeah.
Just imagine, they would be blowing teams out of the water if they would just shoot the basketball well. And a lot of the guys I named, we know can hit shots. Obviously, Isaiah Joe can hit shots. Dort is better than 31. Wiggins is better than 31. Cason's better than 26. We know that about those guys.
Yeah.
And it's going to turn. That's just the way that shooting is it will turn and it will change, but they continue to win despite a lot of these struggles, which I think is kind of big time.
Yeah, and you can't help yourself closing your eyes a little bit and thinking about having Chet Holmgren in the starting unit, having Caruso coming off the bench, and just having to play your best guys. Because Chet Holmgren is not just a defender; he's a guy that can create gravity, and he's also a good passer. Totally. It's not about just having one of the 5 best rim protectors, 3 best rim protector of the league at your disposal. Is about having a weapon, because in nights like this one, if you put Chet Holmgren as the lone big, that is going to be problematic for Houston. It's going to be. They will end up letting Chet shoot, and that is not always a good thing. It may be okay for a couple of games, but overall, and these teams, as you mentioned, they are winning, and they are not winning against lesser teams. Again, this Houston team is very good. They played defensively extremely well. Amen Thompson, very good. Tyree Eason, very good. Dylan Brooks, I hate him, but very good. Fred VanVleet, he played okay defensively. Even Alpi played okay in terms of rim protection. I think that Jabari Smith Jr.
That's the thing that killed me though with Alpi, is that for some reason they turned off. I don't know. I didn't know this was a thing that you could do, but they turned off 3 seconds
on both ends.
Yeah, I know. Alpi just camps in the paint,
all the time.
Yeah, and you could hear Hartenstein counting out 4, 5. It is insane. That was
because
crazy.
He has black shoes. They basically disguise the shoes with the lines on the court. Right.
Whatever,
so it's very hard.
Shout out to them because whatever they're doing is working, because he got to live in the paint. It was like we were watching college ball. It was just what is happening? Wait, what is happening out here? Why does he get to just be in the paint the entire game? That was strange.
Yeah.
That helps.
You know, it was.
Your defense when you can just stand there.
Yeah, and it also creates like more opportunities for rebounds because you can't really, if you stay there, I mean, and your guy like just for a second at least put a foot outside, they're just away from the position and they need to go back. So it's also like it creating a lot of advantages, like being able to be camped in the paint, which should not be a thing.
Yeah. Anyways, do you want to talk about the end of the game where the Thunder just did not foul until 4 seconds left, and then you basically gave yourself no time to play the foul game?
Yeah, it was weird. I think that the best way to play that thing is let's try for 2, 3, 4 seconds to really pester the opponent and try to create turnover. But around 12 to 16, you need to commit a foul in order to have another chance to do the same, which they did not have due to this like ill-advised use of the clock. I really think that was a wrong move. Again, I'm fine not fouling immediately because there is a decent chance with the defenders that you have to create a turnover, and then it's perfect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Mark even said after the game that he'd take responsibility for it.
Yeah,
and he said you kind of have to leave the guys. The guys are kind of out there on their own doing their playing, and so. But yeah, they absolutely should have fouled, and it's a learning experience for everybody. But they should have been able to play the foul game and extend it. And I think it made you feel even a little bit more sick as J-Dub immediately hits that 3.
Yeah,
you're just like, oh my gosh, come on, that you knew that it was gonna be a miracle for them to pull it off.
Yeah,
at that point, and they just couldn't. They just couldn't do it, which is fine. It's a 4-game road trip. Last game of 4-game road trip for Mark too. So
hey, 3-1.
3-1 is good. 3-1 is really
great.
good.
It's great. Let's put it this way. Great.
Yeah, it just sucks that it was against the Rockets. Why have been lose to the Warriors, which also I know losing the Warriors sucks too. Could we just lose to the Kings?
It sucks anyway.
Losing to the Kings. Could we have lost to the Kings? Give Deuce and Mo some something to be excited about. I don't know.
Do you really want to have that L in your books?
I don't want any L's in the books, to be honest.
Yeah, to be honest, this was a great loss in terms of playing. I mean, it showed the fact that they showed they can play their C- game and almost beat the Rockets, who played their B+ game, not A game, because they didn't shoot the ball at 45%.
Yeah.
They shot the ball okay. They had a gazillion free throws, which helps the cause. So the Rockets play B+, the Thunder play probably C- to D, and they lost by 2 points. I think that this is the thing. The Rockets are winning a lot of close games. As of late, they won 2 overtime games. Even the shot that Dylan Brooks made after that sick rebound, and he just in midair hit that jumper. That is not an easy shot. That is a 40% shot, 30% shot. So they hit that Van Vliet 3, which again, it's a 15-20% shot, and that one after the other. I think that again, most nights than not, this goes to overtime, and maybe who knows. But again, it's not most nights. It's this night, and OKC lost. I really think that though there are things to be happy about in this game. I mean, I know that OKC is not putting everything together, but the thing that we saw in this road trip from J-Dub, from Wiggins, from Joe, from Hartenstein, from Shea, and from Lou Dort, I mean, they had good games in different games. They are struggling to put 4 or 5 good performances in a single game, which is I think a schematic thing, and also something the coaching staff should look to.
Mm-hmm.
But you can see, I mean, on any given night, the guys say, "Oh, that is why they gave Wiggins that money. This guy is very good."
Yeah, Wiggins. Yeah, he's really good, and a player that they need that's just versatile that you can just kind of throw in. really whenever. And he's one that's really taken to the Thunder system of just like being able to play whenever, and is not, thrown through a loop if he doesn't really play or if they go to him or whatever. Like he just is steady, which is pretty amazing for a role player. It's not common for NBA role players to just, be able to do that. So
any update on the injuries?
I don't have any updates on the injuries. No.
Okay.
I don't think that they filed anything today.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we're getting closer to Jay Will returning.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something to certainly watch for over the next couple weeks. And then Caruso, I don't really have a feel. I mean, if I were to guess, I would say that it's possible that we might see him and toward the end of this week, but I don't really have a feel for how much worse.
I was afraid you were saying at the end of the year. So okay.
I mean, I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, I mean, re-aggravating an injury that can linger is something that probably requires extra time, a little bit more care, probably.
He's with the team. That's something that's positive. He's up and around. He's one of the first ones up. After every good possession. So
yeah, that's true.
I don't know how bad it is for Alex, but hopefully AC will be back sooner than later because they do need him.
Yeah,
they absolutely need him out there.
I really want to see him and Hartenstein sharing the court with J-Dub and see what happens.
Oh my gosh, I know we saw it just that one game, and it was just Caruso was amazing.
Yeah,
it's the Blazers.
Yeah.
So
can we get that?
I'd love to have that. I'd love to have it tomorrow night to help us crush Utah.
That would be an amazing way to return. You don't have to play him 28 minutes. You can play 14 and change.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just be happy about him and Hartenstein being awesome basketball players and human beings.
Yeah, it'd be amazing. Yeah. So they play. This is a soft bank these wins Thunder schedule the rest of this week. Utah, Toronto, New Orleans. So,
wow.
This is we were talking about how even 2-2 would be acceptable for that road trip, but this should be a 3-0 week,
Yep.
If the Thunder,
that is the acceptable result.
Yeah. If they lose any of those games, it's going to feel disappointing. Losing to San Antonio was disappointing. Don't fumble this one, Thunder. Go focus in one again. For the cup, show up against Utah tomorrow, and then they go to Toronto to see my guy, my good guy Esper Henny up there from the NBA Daily, and then down to New Orleans. Kind of a weird little 2-game road trip from Toronto to New Orleans. It's very strange. But yeah, the Pelicans continue to just get bad news after bad news after bad news, and now BI has signed with Clutch Sports. So pretty interesting things going on in New Orleans. I don't know, if New Orleans has to blow it up, is there anybody on that team that you'd want to have on this team, Michele?
Is this a serious question, Andrew?
It's just it's a pretty easy setup, huh?
Yeah, it's that guy. That's the Murph guy.
Yeah. How would they even get Murph?
Is he? I think he signed the extension, right?
He did. He's not eligible to be traded probably until next summer. But
yeah,
let's say that Zion, I'm out of here. They've traded BI already, and if that happens, what are we even doing?
Yeah. Well, that should. Trey Murphy is a very good player, but he's not a superstar star level where you are in talks with New Orleans only if you put in Chet and or Dub and or Shea.
Yeah. Would you trade Case and Wallace for him?
I'm starting to be a little bit scared about what happens with New Orleans players in general in terms of health.
You just don't want to send any of our guys there.
No, and I know that Anthony Davis is way more healthier here than there.
Yeah.
But it's I'm still a little bit scared about that. I don't know if he has something that will linger or not. But if you think about playing the best possible lineups, I think that Trey Murphy gives you more shooting, less defense probably than Kaysen.
Yeah.
Less on-ball defense.
Yeah, I was going to say less point of attack defense for sure.
Yeah. But I would, you have Dort. You can keep Dort. You have AC. I mean, I would probably think hard about it. I will just try to have picks and not players. So I'm fine putting in, like, I don't know which one I prefer between Topic and Kaysen. Kaysen we saw, Topic we don't know. We just don't know.
He is like such a funny like wild card that exists within this Thunder ethos right now.
Yeah.
That this was a lottery pick. And like I don't know what he's gonna be. Like he could be a great player. I mean, I'm kind of joking a little bit about the Thunder trading for Trey Murphy. I don't expect anything like that to happen, but
no, also because I mean, if you are New Orleans, like you trade away BI.
Mm-hmm.
Like
to open up minutes for Murph, basically.
Yes. And if you want to tank, then it's not that Murph gives you 10 wins. It's not that guy. I don't think that he's that guy.
No. He's like a really good, like high level role player.
Yeah. So why trading him away?
I don't think they would.
Do you think that they will ever be ready to trade Zion?
Do you think any team would be ready to trade for Zion? Would be
my
question.
No, I think I'm sure that there will be teams.
Oh,
they could think in the same way as, hey, New Orleans is a mess in terms of injury management. Let's try to get him out and see if he's any good. Then wow.
True.
I'm not sure what is the price.
I don't know. That's the thing. Is like, can you get what you need for him? Because you need a lot. You need a lot. Like you're not just gonna like salary dump Zion Williamson, but you need a lot in return to actually trade him. Because like when he's healthy, I mean, he played 70 games last year. He had a great season, almost 23, 5-5 on 57% from the field. He had a really nice season last year.
Yeah.
He wasn't necessarily like his all-star self last season. But like we know that he can be better, but he improved as the season went on and was amazing in that. I keep referencing it, but like the game in the play-in, he was just unbelievable until he got hurt. And so, yeah, I just don't know. I don't know. To me, they're at this like weird place with Zion where if they do trade him, it's going to be because the injuries are so bad, and then you won't be able to trade him because the injuries are so bad. It's like it's a little bit like Kawhi and with the Clippers. It's like you're just kind of almost like stuck with these guys. Christian A in the chat, like maybe you swap Kawhi for Zion. Like, okay, I mean that's the kind of thing. Like
the Spurs trade Kawhi when the injury were bad enough.
They did, and they didn't get a whole lot in return.
No, they take Pearl and a pick. I don't remember. It was like every half of the league should have done that.
It was DeRozan,
yeah. Half of the league should have done that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I mean, at the time you can definitely argue for it, but also there was so much weird stuff going on. Like in order to get like that kind of value, you look at Dallas and what they've done with Kyrie, where people are like, Kyrie's going to retire. He's not going to play in the NBA. Like he's an all-star this year. Kyrie is making the all-star team, like flat out. It's tough. It's tough with players like that have like carrying all this baggage with them. Like you're not going to get much for them. And then you look at all these other test cases, you're like, well, we might as well just hang on. I don't know. It's a tough spot to be in. You don't want to be in a spot where your best player is struggling with injuries like this, because it really completely, I mean, your hands are tied. Like, what are you supposed to do? Like, you just pray that this guy's going to get better. Like,
Would you
that's-
trade Risa, Shea, Capella, and a couple of picks?
Yeah, whatever. That's inconsequential in my head. And like the upside is like massive. Also,
Okay.
I don't know that I love the idea of pairing Zion with Trey Young.
I know, but I was thinking more about Jalen Johnson and the
Sure.
fact that they have size to
Yeah.
shield Zion a little bit.
Yeah, they do. I don't hate that. I don't hate that idea. It disrupts the status quo for Atlanta a little bit more, which Atlanta's stabilized. They've actually gotten pretty good, and they're going to the Cup. They're going to knockout round. Shout out to Atlanta. Yeah, I don't know. All I know is I just really want the Thunder to just absolutely decimate the Utah Jazz. That's all I can think about, honestly. That's all I care about. After that game was over last night, my brain immediately turned to, okay, this is good because the Thunder now are going to feel more motivated to get to the Cup. That's all I care
Question: is there a number of points where they could get the wild card, or is out of the? Suppose that they win by 61, 54,
now
35.
we're talking. Now we're talking Cup. Okay. Now we're really talking Cup. Let me see where Dallas is, because I think that's the team that they need to surpass. So correct me in the chat if I'm wrong, if you guys have these numbers, but I'm dialing them up right now. So Dallas is a plus 41 right now in the Cup, and the Warriors have already clinched that West Group C. So Dallas currently has the best differential because the Rockets clinched and the rest of West Group A was just miserable. And so now it's down to Dallas and Phoenix technically if they don't get there. So what would have to happen for Phoenix to make it is the Thunder need to lose and Phoenix wins. Like that's how that occurs. So like it's not impossible for that to happen. But we're talking about wild card. It is gonna come down to like the Blazers are done, Minnesota's done. So they would have to and Dallas plays. Do they play Memphis? Is that right? On Tuesday? I think that's right.
I'm looking at it.
So
They play, yes, the Grizz.
Okay, so we need the Grizzlies to win this game. So if you're a Cup enthusiast, if you're a Cup guy, you need to root for the Grizzlies to win against the Mavericks. That's thing number one. Because then if the Mavericks lose, then the Thunder will likely be the wild card team.
Wow.
So we need that to happen. So if San Antonio wins and the Thunder win, then the Thunder are now needing the Memphis Grizzlies to beat the Dallas Mavericks in order for them to advance, or for this to be a very close game and for them to only win by like a couple, and then the Thunder to beat the Jazz by 30 or more. Yeah. So those are like the scenarios in which they get this wild card spot, which there's one wild card spot for each conference. And so they're actually in a good position for it, as long as Dallas doesn't just like obliterate the Grizzlies. And if that happens, then they have really wrapped up the wild card spot, because if they can get, like, if they beat them by 20 or something, then like they're like a plus 60 or whatever. And then like the Thunder don't have a chance. The Thunder are a plus 18 currently.
Yeah.
So hopefully your head's not completely spinning right now as I'm discussing this, because I know it is like super complicated, but like let me just like say it one more time plainly. In order for the Thunder to advance and win the West Group B, they need to beat the Jazz and they need the Suns to beat San Antonio. If that happens, then they're in the knockout round. Like, yeah, plain and simple. If the Thunder win and the Spurs win, then the Thunder are eligible for the wild card spot. And then it's basically between the Thunder and the Dallas Mavericks for that wild card spot. And so they would need the Dallas Mavericks to basically lose to Memphis in order to get the wild card spot. So like the games that you're watching on Tuesday, obviously Thunder Jazz, Spurs Suns is probably the next one, and then Dallas Memphis. Like those are the 3 West games that are all relevant to the Thunder in some capacity. If the Thunder win and the Spurs lose, then you don't need to worry about Dallas Memphis. If somehow the Spurs and the Thunder win, then all eyes turn to Dallas Memphis and like what's going to happen there. So that's your cup update, everybody.
Fantastic. Let's make sure that we'll see how much they care. I mean, the Jazz just lost by 1 last night against the Lakers.
Here's the thing: the Lakers.
Lowry's playing.
The Lakers just aren't that good. Everybody.
I know, but they appear to be very good in some moments of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So they can be good.
That was honestly the first game that I thought, oh my gosh, LeBron looks old.
Yeah,
he's played against the Thunder at least, where I just thought, oh my gosh, LeBron James is human and he looks old. Can't defend anybody. He's not scoring. He traveled multiple times. He double dribbled multiple times. That was strange, honestly.
Yeah, it happens. It happens to everybody.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it does. Happens to us all. Okay. Anything else that we need to touch on? I'm so excited about the cup. Matt Noonan, a cup date. That's right. That was your cup date. Yeah. But very excited about the cup. Can't be more into the cup.
We will talk more about the cup on Wednesday. Yeah. When we will know if Andrew is going to watch.
I'll be so sad. I'll be so sad if they don't.
Then you already have the miffed and peeved section ready.
I'll be so miffed if they don't make it. And a lot of it is like they just show up against the Spurs and we don't have to have any of this conversation. Okay. Show up against the Wemby-less Spurs. I mean, come on. That was
and not playing Sigari Flagler for that insane amount of time.
I like Flagler. Still like him. Yesterday was his birthday. Happy birthday.
Oh, nice.
Today's Kenrich's birthday, by the way. And I just dropped a video of Kenrich with his top 5 candies, and he's ridiculously funny every time. So go check that out on Twitter. I don't have it on. It'll be up on YouTube soon.
Did you send him a Charizard action figure for his birthday?
I need to get him a card, a holographic Charizard card.
Yeah, that would be a good present. That'd be good.
Like, what? What are you doing? Okay. Hope you guys have a great rest of your Monday. We'll be back with the next cup date on Wednesday. I really appreciate you guys listening. Hope you guys had a good holiday. Hope that your Cyber Monday isn't too much of a bummer getting back into work. Just feels strange in the U.S. getting back to work, but hope everybody's doing great, and we'll talk to you guys again on Wednesday.